The federal government announces millions for Aboriginal training. An assault at the Thunder Bay jail leads to charges. And skydivers hit the skies over the Slate River Valley.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. A new Government of Canada Skills and Partnership Fund was announced today, worth millions of dollars.
The new deal would see Matawa First Nations members receive training when it comes to the mining sector in the Ring of Fire. Courtney Rutherford has the details.
The overall development of the Ring of Fire is undoubtedly a multi-year initiative, and with the federal government adding $5.9 million to the pot, Aboriginal students will have a brand new opportunity in their hands. The program, titled the Ring of Fire Aboriginal Training Alliance, will cover specialized training for 260 students who live near the massive mineral deposit.
This is not a project that we want to have outsourced to the rest of the world. Obviously, we'll invite their help and welcome it where it's strategic and necessary. But for the most part, for my part, as the minister responsible for FedNor and Ring of Fire, to make sure that Northern Ontario's footprint and face is very much on Ring of Fire.
The training program is all thanks to a partnership between Ottawa, Confederation College, and the Kiknomaga-Kikenjuan Employment and Training Services. The objective is to provide skill development, labor market participation, and efficient training tailored around the Ring of Fire. The trainees will be guided long-term with hopes of sustaining career pathways in the mineral and mining sectors for years to come.
We think it'll grow to more than 1,000 over a period of time. We know that we've worked a lot in those communities. There's more than 1,000 people that have indicated their interest in further education and developing their skills so they'll be directly applicable to mining, but also other related types of field. When will it start? I think it's starting right now, literally the next couple of weeks.
The announcement was the first by Kenora MP Greg Rickford since being named Minister of Science and Technology and the federal point man for the Ring of Fire. He says skills training is the best way to include First Nations communities in the Ring of Fire development, adding that it's important that future employees are homegrown talent looking to improve the economic fortunes, not only in First Nations communities, but cities and towns across northwestern Ontario. Courtney Rutherford, TBT News.
The Regional Energy Task Force welcomes an announcement today on the east-west tie line. The province has hired a company to design and construct the new power line from Thunder Bay to Wawa that is viewed as crucial for this region. Task Force co-chair Larry Hebert says the group is also looking forward to the unveiling of an energy plan for the areas north of Dryden. That's expected to happen at the end of next week. The Ontario Power Authority has been working on a plan to address record levels of mining development and energy needs. The draft plan calls for a new transmission line from the Dryden area that will connect First Nations communities that rely on diesel and the Ring of Fire. Hebert believes the North is going to drive the economy in the province, but says mines won't be built with a reliable energy grid. Hebert says their message continues to fall on deaf ears.
We've got to start connecting these First Nations, get that transmission system up there, develop the industry, whether it be forest, tourism, mining, and get these things going. And the good news is there's so much hydro potential up there that it'll be able to bring that power out to our area, to their own area up north, and to the rest of Ontario, and perhaps even to neighboring states and provinces.
Hebert's also looking for good news from the Ministry of Energy at this month's AMO conference. He's hopeful an announcement will be made at that time that will see Thunder Bay, the generating station, converted to natural gas.
Well, there has been some good news on the energy front. NOMA is frustrated with meetings it had with ministry officials yesterday, and there were more questions following a provincial energy meeting last night. A public open house was held in Thunder Bay on Ontario's long-term energy plan, but Ministry of Energy spokespersons wouldn't comment on what the plan is for the city or the region. The Ontario Power Authority and the Independent Electricity System Operator have turned in a report on regional energy to the minister. It outlines ways to power the Ring of Fire and remote northern communities. But spokespersons at the meeting wouldn't comment on those plans or how the region's energy needs will be met. Thunder Bay Superior North MP Bruce Hire was one of those frustrated people in attendance. He called the meeting deeply disturbing, run by very defensive people who provided what he calls non-answers.
There's nothing on the lines to the Ring of Fire, there's nothing on the proposed lines or not to remote communities, and a really big one is there's a proposed line from the Pickle Lake area down the east side of Lake Nipigon. It's just inexcusable, if this is supposed to be a planning exercise, that there's no opportunity to see those proposals and comment upon them.
Ministry officials say the open house was to let people know that a review of the long-term energy plan is underway. The public could not comment on the plan at last night's meeting. Instead, people have to visit the Environmental Registry or mail a letter to the ministry.
Two members of Ontario PC leader Tim Hudak's caucus are telling him to allow a leadership review at a policy conference in London next month. Some grassroots Tories have already filed motions requesting a leadership vote. The PCs won just one seat out of the 5 by-elections held in Ontario last week. Hudak is out of the country on vacation, but supporters point out he received almost 79% support when they held a mandatory leadership review after losing the 2011 election.
City police were called to the Thunder Bay District Jail yesterday to deal with an alleged assault on a prisoner there. The incident occurred at about 3:30 in the afternoon. Police spokesperson Chris Adams says 2 inmates aged 45 and 25 have been charged with assault. The victim was a 58-year-old man, and it appears the injuries were minor as he was not sent to hospital. Another inmate at the jail alerted TBT News about the incident, who said it sparked a code blue lockdown, which led to several other altercations in the prison cells. A spokesperson at the Ministry of Community Safety and Correctional Services would not comment on that. He did confirm that an incident took place yesterday at the jail in which an inmate was injured. But because the matter is under investigation by the ministry and the police, he says it would be inappropriate to provide any further details.
Thunder Bay Police continue their efforts to locate a man who's been charged with numerous offenses involving a child. Last week, a Canada-wide arrest warrant was issued for the alleged sexual predator. 62-year-old Arthur Joseph Lyons is wanted for sexual assault, sexual interference, and breach of probation. So far, one victim has come forward, and police say quite often in these types of cases there are others. So far, the suspect has eluded police. Anyone with information as to his whereabouts is asked to call Thunder Bay Police or Crime Stoppers.
Given the fact that he was put out for location, he knows he's wanted for these charges, there is a very good possibility he could have fled out of town. They are proceeding with just the one instance right now that dates back into late July.
Adams reminds parents to be very aware of who they leave their children with.
The Ontario College of Teachers has revoked the license of a former Thunder Bay area principal after finding he turned a blind eye to allegations of sexual abuse against his ex-boyfriend, who also worked at the school. Jacques Perrin has been barred from reapplying for his teaching license for at least 5 years. The college's disciplinary committee found Perrin's inaction made him an accomplice to the abuse alleged to have taken place between 2003 and 2006. The Child and Family Services Act requires anyone working closely with children to report any suspicion of abuse against a child.
The organization that helped found the local chapter of Meals on Wheels says it was shocked by news the program is under review. The Lakehead Social Planning Council identified a community need for nutritional meals at home more than 40 years ago. LSPC Board Chair Mary Kasoris says the organization found out about the potential change, like many others, through the media. The Red Cross is working on a proposal to take over the Meals on Wheels program from the city. The move would save city taxpayers about $100,000 a year. Kasoris calls the Red Cross a wonderful organization and believes the program fits with their mandate, but she does have some concerns.
That it's done right and that there's the continuity of the quality of the service, and again that a non-for-profit is not absorbing additional costs, that they're not going to be in the red as a result of offering this service.
Kasoris says the program is not only important for the meals, but also social interaction for the clients and volunteers. All of the city's discussions about the Meals on Wheels program have been held behind closed doors.
The food shelves at the Regional Food Distribution Association are nearly empty, forcing organizers to issue a desperate plea for help. The RFDA supplies food to more than 36 food banks across the city and throughout northwestern Ontario. As of this week, the company is completely out of their top 10 most needed goods. Those typically include foods that are high in protein and make easy meals for families. Each month, the RFDA serves over 13,000 families, and they're asking the public to do whatever they can to help fill the gap before it gets even worse.
Well, what's going to happen is we do have a reserve of money that has been donated for purchasing, so we will go on a buying spree, which puts a lot of strain on our budget later on in the year, where we have to go back to the public and ask for donations. So we will go shopping. We will try to do the best we can. And we may not be able to buy as much as we can to fill all of the hampers, but we're anticipating a good response from the public.
The RFDA is encouraging the public to look inside their pantry for extra food and drop by their Syndicate Avenue headquarters to donate throughout the week.
A fundraiser has now been set up in honor of a dog killed by a black bear while protecting its owner this past weekend. Spyro was a miniature schnauzer that died on Saturday at Sandbar Lake Provincial Park near Ignace. He was one of two dogs walking with 42-year-old Trevor Miller when they were attacked repeatedly by a predatory black bear. Miller calls Spyro a hero, saying the dog sacrificed itself so that he and the other dog could escape to safety. The Bay Credit Union on Algoma Street has created a fundraiser in Spyro's honor. All money raised will go to New Hope Dog Rescue. Miller's friend Sylvia Kaluski came up with the idea as a way to commemorate Spyro's bravery and encourage local dog lovers to help save other dogs.
Well, local thrill seekers have been hitting the rides at the CLE this week. But there's an even bigger thrill ride happening just outside the city. Adventure skydiving is back for another year, and people are flocking to their temporary drop zone for a chance to fall through the sky. And today, Nate Jones spoke with some first-time jumpers.
It's not for everyone, but those who give it a chance say it's more exhilarating than scary. It's skydiving. And drop zone operator Tim Eason says people seem to get more than a cheap thrill from this extreme sport.
I think it's challenging themselves. More so than the actual experience of the jump, which is amazing. It's the sense of accomplishment of actually doing something that so few people have actually had it in them to do.
There were many first-timers getting ready to take the plunge. After the signing of a waiver and some brief instruction, it's time to gear up and hit the plane. Any last words?
I'm really excited. I've never done it before, and I'm really looking forward to taking a jump and trying it out.
I think it's going to be pretty scary at first, but I'm looking forward to it. It should be a really good time.
In these little planes, it can take between 20 and 30 minutes to get to a height of 11,000 feet. It takes a lot less time to get back down. Jumpers hit speeds of over 200 kilometers an hour within 6 to 8 seconds. At 11,000 feet, that's about a 45-second free fall. The parachute ride down to Slate River Valley offers a beautiful view above these farmers' fields.
It was amazing and scary all at the same time, and it's great because you're in the airplane and you're climbing and you go, oh, we look pretty high, and then your tandem partner goes, oh, well, we're only at 400 feet. We still have 10 more thousand to go, and you're like, oh my goodness.
You know, as soon as you were out the door, you weren't nervous anymore. It was just, the free fall was easily the best part. It's just so fast, it's so exhilarating. I loved it. It was so much fun.
Once safely on the ground, both agreed they would do it again and would recommend it to others. Adventure skydiving will be in the city till Saturday, and there are still spots available for those willing to take a chance. Prices start at about $250 per person. Nate Jones, TBT News.